Time Watchers Post. I'm Minister Susan Mayu. Thank you for joining my channel today. This week, we had a major far-side solar flare. The biggest flare of solar cycle 25 just exploded from the far side of the sun. The X-ray was detected on the European Solar Observatory spacecraft, registering an X-class 14 category blast. The Solar Observatory was over the far side of the sun when the explosion occurred on July 23rd, in perfect position to observe a flare otherwise invisible from Earth because it was on the backside of the sun. Other large flares were detected previously. From May 20th of 2024, there was an X12 class solar flare, and July the 17th of 2023, last year, there was a X10 class solar flare. All of these have come from the far side, the backside of the sun. Meanwhile, on the Earth-facing side of the sun, the largest flare so far registered an X-class 8.9, and that was on May 14th of this year, 2024. Solar activity is running high. Sunspot complex number AR 3765 and 3767 are crackling with strong flares, and they're getting stronger. Also, an impulse of X 1.5 flare this morning caused a deep shortwave radio blackout over Japan, Southeast Asia, and Australia. And more X-class solar flares are in the offering as the complex turns towards Earth. And according to NASA, we are under a cannibal CME alert, or coronal mass ejection, from the sun. A series of M-class solar flares over the weekend hurling coronal mass ejections towards the Earth. According to a NASA model, the first two CMEs merged to form a potential cannibal CME. The cannibal CME is clearing the way for two more coronal mass ejections following behind it. And these coronal mass ejections are flying into a void created by the earlier cannibal CME. With little interplanetary material to slow them down, the storm clouds should reach Earth no later than July 31st, potentially intensifying any geomagnetic storm already underway. The sunspot of the X14 solar flare that just happened on the backside of the sun is coming around and will be Earth-facing later on this week. We also know that that same sunspot is capable of producing X-class solar flares, which have the potential of causing an electrical blackout like the one that hit Quebec, Canada in March of 1989. It was an X15 that caused that one. It also destroyed transformers at a nuclear plant in New Jersey and caused auroras at night as far south as Texas and Cuba. Now, the largest solar flare ever recorded occurred in 1859 and is known as the Carrington event. Solar flares are classified according to their strength. The weaker the solar flare, it's classified as an A, and they go up from there, a B, C, M, and the largest being an X-class solar flare. The Carrington event was retrospectively classified, in other words, after it happened, as an X45 class solar flare. The effects of the September 2nd, 1859 solar storm of the Carrington event was unprecedented. People saw auroras as far south as the Caribbean and Mexico. At some more northern latitudes, it was said that the sky was so bright at night that the birds, thinking it was morning, started singing. There are reports of some people receiving shocks from doorknobs and other metal objects. There are other reports of compasses failing to work and ships being lost. and network experiencing disruptions like telephone lines that actually caught fire. The Bible does tell us that in the last days, in the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 25 through 28, there shall be signs in the sun, in the moon, in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the seas and the waves roaring. And in verse 26, men's hearts fail them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the power of the heavens shall be shaken. And then in verse 27 we see, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with power and great glory. And finally, verse 28, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your head, for your redemption draweth nigh. Makes you wonder, most of these large solar flares were on the backside of the sun. I have to question, is there something coming up on the backside of the sun that we can't see that's affecting these solar flares? Something that can make men's hearts fail them for fear of what they see coming upon the earth, where the power of heaven shall be shaken? If so, then when you see these things come to pass, then look up, lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Jesus is coming. Are you ready? Are you saved?